Former AEW World Champion CM Punk has opened up on the possibility that he could appear at WWE Survivor Series next month in Chicago, Illinois, despite rumors that WWE has turned down the opportunity to bring him back to the company, and it would mark the return to WWE for the first time in close to a decade after walking out of WWE back in 2014. Details on that, plus we've got the ratings for AEW Dynamite on TBS last night, and total viewership has taken a decline despite the show featuring the debut in AEW of the Nature Boy Ric Flair. WWE's streaming partner, NBC Universal's Peacock, has shown massive losses since the streaming service first launched back in 2020. Ric Flair reacts to his AEW debut last night on Dynamite. The front-running location for WWE SummerSlam 2024 has been revealed. An update on War Games plans for Survivor Series in Chicago. Rocky Romero has called out Jon Moxley for a match inside of an AEW ring. DIY say they've got new music planned for their in-ring return Monday night on Raw. And Paul White opens up about possible retirement. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. And let's start off talking about CM Punk, who for the first time has addressed the rumors he could make a WWE return in his hometown of Chicago, Illinois next month at Survivor Series, for the first time answering questions on the topic. So CM Punk has answered the question that everyone wants to know. CM Punk was on 760 The Score in Chicago, and he was point blank asked, are you going to be at WWE Survivor Series? Now, Punk took a long pause and he did give an answer, although some are wondering how serious he was with what he said. Take a look.
Been asking on our text line, Phil, if you're going to be at WWE Survivor Series here next month.
They're asking if I'm going to be there. I think it's sold out. I think tickets are hard to get.
So he's pretty jokey with what he said there. He said, if you didn't hear it, they're asking if I'm going to be there. I think it's sold out. I think tickets are hard to get. Now, he was then asked, in a clip that we don't have, he was asked if he would perform in WWE again. Punk said, quote, I don't want to burst anybody's bubble. I'm kind of just sitting at home and enjoying this beautiful Chicago weather. I have an injury in the family. My dog, Larry, blew his dog ACL. I'm literally just spending time with him. I know that sounds crazy, but he is my son, and I take care of him and I treat him as such. Everything has kind of stopped. I'm fortunate to take time off from everything. I've cancelled things I have coming up. Traveling is hard. It's tough to leave him here with my wife, April. If there are two of us here taking care of him, it's easier. So that settles that. Does it? I guess that's up to you. Do you think Punk is playing coy? Do you believe the reports? Or is he being serious? He's not going to be there in Chicago for WWE Survivor Series. Let me know your thoughts about that. Now, he was asked about a variety of different topics, not just Survivor Series, in this interview on the radio today. And CM Punk has discussed unionizing in wrestling. For the longest time, some fans and wrestlers have talked about the possibility of unionizing the wrestling business. Other major entertainment industries, such as the film and television industry, have been led by unions for decades at this point. Of course, the topic of unions are very relevant in today's world, as the Screen Actors Guild are currently on strike as they fight for fair pay and working conditions for the actors. Recently, the Writers Guild of America were on strike as well, but a new deal between that guild and the studios was reached in late September. Furthermore, many sporting leagues also have unions too. While speaking to 670 The Score for a new interview, Punk said, quote, for professional wrestling, yeah, wrestlers should 100% have a union. I'll always say this, and I mean it in the most loving way. Wrestlers will never unionize because wrestlers are stupid and selfish. That's just the way it is. There is always going to be somebody else around the corner that wants what you have or possibly doesn't want you to have what you have, and they will do whatever the promoter wants you to do for less money. That's unfortunate. The boys never stick together, end quote. Punk went on to say that he likes hockey because the players stick together due to the fact they have a players' union. Punk also went on to note that stars in wrestling will often avoid rocking the boat in order not to get in trouble, as they can't afford to lose their job. He said, quote, I think it's a lack of places to work. It's really a wage gap disparity. It's a class war. When your boss is a billionaire and you don't want to rock the boat, This isn't in wrestling, this applies to anything. More often than not, people will want to keep their head down, not to get in trouble, and just go about their day. For better or worse, people have mouths to feed. There are people with kids, families, taking care of other people, and they can't afford to lose their job. Fortunately for me, I've never been that guy. I'm always like, I don't need the money. This is wrong, and I get to tell people it's wrong. I don't think the platform I have is worth anything if I don't speak from the heart about issues that I feel are important. The former AEW World Champion went on to state that he has researched about striking and that it really boils down to having strength in numbers. Quote, I have researched, probably not as extensively as I should if I was going to act on this. It's just me. There is strength in numbers. If it were to ever happen, just like it happened any other time people have risen up and created a union or strived for better working conditions for workers, it has to be a group of people. People have to stick together, and wrestlers are just never going to stick together. It's sad. Of course, the SAG-AFTRA strike in Hollywood is currently allowing John Cena to appear regularly on episodes of SmackDown 2. So what are your thoughts on Punk appearing at Survivor Series, as well as Punk's comments on unionizing and a possible union in pro wrestling? Let me know your thoughts about that too in the comment section below. Now let's talk about the ratings for AEW Dynamite on TBS this week, specifically the total viewership number as well as the 18 to 49 demographic. And it's not good for AEW, a sharp decline despite the show featuring the All Elite Wrestling debut of the Nature Boy Ric Flair. AEW Dynamite viewership decreased on October 25. According to WrestleNomics, 774,000 viewers watched the show on Wednesday night. This is down a whopping 14% compared to last week's 901,000 viewers. Dynamite also drew a 0.24 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic, which of course is down from a 0.31 a week ago. Of course, as I mentioned, this week's episode featured the AEW Dynamite debut, AEW TV debut, All Elite Wrestling debut in general of the Nature Boy Ric Flair, an in-ring appearance from Kazuchika Okada in the main event, Hikaru Shida versus Ruby Soho for the AEW Women's World Championship. Of course, MJF defending the Dynamite Diamond Ring in the opening contest of the show. But what is quite interesting is the comparison to NXT Halloween Havoc, because once again, despite them comfortably defeating NXT this week, once again, Tuesday's edition of NXT has averaged more viewers than Dynamite, because Tuesday night's episode of NXT, which of course was week 1 of this year's Halloween Havoc special, averaged 787,000 viewers, of course, which is higher than the 774,000 viewers. Of course, as I mentioned, that's 13,000 viewers more than AEW Dynamite this week, the nights after as well. NXT drew a 0.21 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic, so Dynamite did defeat NXT in terms of the key demo. Not by much, but they did this week as well. So what are your thoughts on the numbers for AEW Dynamite? What do you think the reasons are behind when it comes to this sharp decline? And what are your thoughts on NXT actually defeating AEW Dynamite once again in total viewership? Let me know your thoughts about that, as always, in the comment section below. Now, let's talk about NBC Universal's Peacock streaming service and the huge losses it has incurred since it was launched back in 2020. Of course, Survivor Series is coming up. It's going to be streaming live on Peacock, as do every WWE premium live event. And NBC Universal Peacock, of course, is the home of WWE in the United States for PLEs and has made staggering losses since its inception. The streaming platform was launched in April 2020 and provides access to NBC Sports, Hallmark Channel, alongside WWE content. In January 2021, WWE announced the NBCU had acquired the exclusive distribution rights to the WWE Network, with streaming starting on March 18 of that year. In July 2023, it was announced that Peacock subscription prices would rise for the first time since 2020. Owned by Comcast, Peacock's numbers were revealed in their earnings release that was released on October 26, 2023, and broken down by Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics. In a series of tweets, Thurston revealed that Peacock has around 28 million paid subscribers. However, it, quote, has a long way to go to have its first profitable quarter, end quote. He would note that, quote, Peacock possibly exceeds ESPN Plus for paid domestic subscribers, end quote. Within his analysis was a tweet that showed the losses that have been incurred since the service's inception in Q1 of 2020. According to the charge and Thurston's analysis, Peacock has now lost a cumulative $6.8 billion since its inception. Yes, billion with a B. On September 21st, 2023, it was announced that NBC Universal and WWE had reached a 5-year domestic media rights partnership that will bring Friday Night SmackDown back to USA Network beginning in October 2024. So one would assume possibly the rights The streaming rights for that may end up going on NBC Universal. There has been a lot of discussion about possibly having a short-term extension to that deal to line up with the media rights deals for WWE. Of course, that's a developing story. But what are your thoughts about the sheer losses? And does this just show that maybe there is a bit of a streaming bubble and it could burst in the future? Let me know your thoughts about that. Now, last night was the All Elite Wrestling debut of the Nature Boy Ric Flair as he appeared on AEW Dynamite alongside the Icon Sting. Actually, a funny backstage story has emerged about Ric Flair making a special appearance on last night's AEW Dynamite. Ring of Honor commentator Ian Riccoboni was in attendance for Dynamite and took to Twitter to share a funny story after the debut, writing a reply to a post from AEW about the big debut of the Nature Boy on Dynamite. Riccoboni said, quote, "I was in a room next to a room marked, quote, special guest all night. I assumed it was Okada. Whoops." Now, Ric Flair made his AEW debut in a segment featuring Tony Schiavone, Darby Allin, and Sting as Tony Khan's gift to the latter. However, they were interrupted by Christian Cage, who had, as one would expect, copious insults for Ric Flair. The segment would end with Christian Cage, Nick Wayne, and Luchasaurus challenging Sting and Darby Allin to a match at Full Gear, including whatever third partner they could find, although Ric Flair was ruled out. Kind of. Later in a backstage segment, Sting had an intriguing exchange with Adam Copeland, whereby Sting implored Copeland to give up any idea of alliance with Christian Cage and instead team with Sting and Darby Allin against Christian's group at Full Gear. Now, Ric Flair himself has reacted to appearing last night on AEW Dynamite. He posted on social media, quote, "I'm ready for this journey in AEW with my dear friend, the Icon Sting," followed by his trademark woo. Although there was nothing specifically confirmed, it would suggested that Flair may continue to make appearances in AEW alongside Sting for the final few months of his career. He did say, "March, if you'll take me, I'll be here for the ride with you." So the assumption is that Flair is going to be featured regularly on AEW programming moving forward, at least until the spring of next year. Now let's switch gears here and talk about SummerSlam next year, because we now know possibly the frontrunner to host the event. And it's quite a surprising location that's being discussed for SummerSlam and is considered to be a frontrunner and a likely location. Sean Rossap of Fightful Select is reporting that Fightful has learned that Cleveland, Ohio is in the running to potentially see WWE SummerSlam 2024 land there. There are several sources that are connected with the city of Cleveland, as well as the Cleveland Browns. One WWE sources said they heard that the event was even likely for the city. Fightful have also said they've not learned if Cleveland Browns Stadium or Progressive Field would be the location that WWE has in mind for the event, if indeed it does end up being there. So we'll have to wait and see. But what are your thoughts on Cleveland, Ohio, possibly hosting SummerSlam next year? Now, let's talk about War Games at Survivor Series, because it's still yet to be confirmed that we're getting the double cage match at the PLE this year. Of course, WWE Survivor Series takes place on Saturday, November 25, with no matches officially announced at the time of recording this video. The event has proven so popular that additional seats have been made available on the seating plan. A match that has been reportedly ruled out was the teased Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns champion versus champion match. There has also been discussion of a War Games match, with a previous report stating it wouldn't be a Raw versus SmackDown match. WrestleVotes has provided an update on the plans, revealing that there's been a creative back and forth over the plans for possibly War Games on the show. In a tweet today, WrestleVotes revealed, quote, "Regarding War Games, I'm told creative within WWE has gone back and forth for a while now on the matchup for Survivor Series. Within the last few weeks, the thought was to keep the story only on the Raw side of things, but the sense from a source is that has now changed. Of course, War Games has previously been used in WWE on NXT before making its main roster debut at Survivor Series 2022 last year. So what do you think the War Games match is going to look like? What teams do you think are going to be involved? They said previously it was going to be a Raw thing, possibly suggesting a Judgment Day versus Team Rhodes kind of match, but now they're suggesting maybe it could involve SmackDown. Does that mean the Bloodline's going to get involved? Let me know your thoughts about that in the comment section below. Now, Rocky Romero has called out Jon Moxley for a match inside of an AEW ring. The issues between the Blackpool Combat Club and Chaos appeared to be getting warmed up in AEW following a tag match on last night's AEW Dynamite. Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli versus Orange Cassidy and the visiting Kazuchika Okada, and some escalating tension between both sides. Rocky Romero decided that an early morning hours of today was the right time to hit up social media and throw down the gauntlet towards another member of the Blackpool Combat Club, Club. He tweeted, quote, "Give me Mox," and posted a gif saying, "I'm ready." Issuing a challenge to Jon Moxley is akin to welcoming extreme violence into your life, but after a stare down between Chaos and the BCC closed Dynamite, Romero is apparently ready for whatever such a bout would bring. When such an encounter might take place is anyone's guess though. Moxley has remained sidelined in AEW after suffering a concussion during a match with Rey Fenix several weeks ago, and for what it's worth, AEW has been very careful with its talent returning to the ring when concussions are part of the equation. However, Moxley making his way to the ring on Wednesday night and then the Romero tweet that came soon after are indicators that Moxley's recovery has been progressing well and seemingly it is complete. It was reported after he appeared on AEW Collision this past Saturday that Moxley was cleared for an in-ring return as well. As for what is the larger game plan in the rivalry between the BCC and Chaos, that remains to be seen. Chaos has expanded into AEW territory in recent years after primarily making its home in New Japan Pro Wrestling. However, the trend with the Blackpool Combat Club in recent months has been to find another stable to get involved with, and Chaos may just be the next faction who is available to feud with on AEW TV. So where do you think that one is going to go? DIY, yes, Johnny Gargano and Tomaso Ciampa, they're getting new theme music. Johnny Gargano has stated that DIY will have new theme music when he and Tomaso Ciampa reunite next week on Raw. On the October 23rd episode of Raw, Tomaso Ciampa made a timely return to help Johnny Gargano overcome Imperium's Giovanni Vinci. As announced by WWE, the team of DIY will make their in-ring return on October 30, having last been on the same team together at WWE NXT 2.0 War Games all the way back in 2021. Speaking on his own Twitch stream, Gargano revealed that fans can expect to hear a new DIY theme tune, saying, quote, "When DIY debuted, the song they gave us was just a stock song. It's not like it was hand-picked for us. We were not under contract yet. It just caught on. But me and Tomaso are very excited about the potential of something new. It can be so much more. I'm trying to spoil too much stuff, but you have to tune in Monday. It's going to be very cool. I think it's got a very cool vibe. It's something we are both very pumped about. We hope you guys dig it. We dig it. It's something fresh. It's something new. I think it's going to be something that catches on. And years from now, you guys will talk about that song instead." So we'll have to wait and see what that song indeed does sound like Monday night on Raw. Finally, it was teased last night on Dynamite, of course, that Chris Jericho could be reuniting with Paul White to reform the tag team of Jericho. But Paul White has also opened up on the possibility of retiring fairly soon as well. Speaking to the Battleground podcast, Paul White discussed his future in the business, including a time frame in mind to hang it all up. White said, quote, "I got a year and a half, 2 years left before I hang it all up. Really, it's about trying to help this younger talent and then moving on to that commentary role. Then it's about the younger talent. Right now, I'm still foggy and want to have fun and play a little bit. I've had plenty of matches. I've done plenty of tours, had plenty of rivalries. Right now, it's about doing what I can to help the product out. There's a time all things come to an end, unfortunately." Now, of course, these comments come to light after a tease that perhaps White could be making an in-ring return on AEW Dynamite. Of course, in an interview segment with Renee Paquette on last night's show, Chris Jericho spoke about the recent attack on him by Powerhouse Hobbs, mentioning that while Don Callis may have a lot of family members, Jericho does have a lot of friends, including some that are even bigger than Powerhouse Hobbs. Jericho teasing perhaps it was time to make a call. Could it be time for a Jericho reunion? It wasn't confirmed, but Big Show is surely bigger than Powerhouse Hobbs. We'll have to wait and see when it comes to that. Of course, Jericho and Big Show, now AEW's Paul White, were a delightfully heelish WWE tag team who were tag team champions in WWE in 2009 and 2010. So there you go. There you go, guys. That's the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like and the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right-hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.